The OPPO Find X3 Pro is a powerful device. It's packing the latest Android software, the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon processor chip. It has a great camera, excellent display. In fact, one of the best displays I've used on a smartphone to date. And it has a lot going for it to actually be a contender for one of the best smartphones to come out this year so far. Let's take a look. Before we get into it though, big shout out to OPPO for sending his box. It's actually a really nice box and a nice unboxing experience as well. It's got like a little teaser area and then the actual device as well. The teaser one I've actually teased on my Twitter already, if you guys have been following or not. But yeah, we're going to get into it and see what it's all about. But bear that in mind though, that when you do pick one of these up, this is not the box that you will be getting. What's actually in the box, the retail box, is what you'll be getting. So inside the actual retail packaging, you get a SIM ejector tool shaped like the O in OPPO. You get a warranty booklet, I think it is, or safety booklet, and warranty card that looks like a hotel room key, and something you'd get when you buy something that's expensive as well. You have a silicone case that's soft and almost the same color as the device itself. Do bear in mind though that in the final retail version, you may not have the case in the packaging. This is something that's happened in the past, so do bear that in mind. Then you get the device itself, and it's an interesting one, but we'll take a closer look shortly. The camera housing or the module on the back is quite interesting. And finally, yes, we get a charger in the box. It's a 65 watt super fast Supervooc charger with a USB-A to USB-C port and a cable and a pair of in-ear headphones as well in the box. Taking a closer look at the OPPO Find X3 Pro, it has a unibody design full of curves everywhere, with the main one being the camera housing. It starts with the curved edges on the front and the back, and then on the back, that curved edges leads onto the flat back that slowly rises up to the four sides of the camera housing. It's more noticeable from the bottom and right side of the camera lenses, where it rises from the flat to the curved area. It's unusual and the first time I've seen it done before. It's a brave design but not striking by any means. The rest of the Find X3 Pro is thick, so it doesn't have that slick effect that you get on the iPhone or even the S21 for that matter. It's available in a glossy black finish and this blue here as well with a matte finish. As for buttons, we have a power button on the right side of the device. The volume rockers are on the left of the Find X3 Pro. On the bottom is where you get the USB-C port, a dual SIM tray, and a dual stereo speaker set that's also Dolby Atmos loaded. The X3 Pro supports AirVook wireless flash charge up to 30 watts, which is impressive. On the back is a quad camera setup featuring a 50 megapixel wide angle camera with Sony IMX766 sensor. And then you have a 50 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with Sony IMX766 sensor as well. So you're having dual camera setup with good camera lenses there. Then you have a 13 megapixel telephoto camera, which is f2.4 with 5 times hybrid zoom and 20 times digital zoom. And finally, a 3 megapixel macro lens, or they call it micro lens, which has f3.0 aperture with fixed focus. On the front, for selfie shooters out there, you get 32 megapixel selfie camera with f2.4 aperture. You can shoot 4K at 60 frames per second or 30 frames per second, 1080 at 60 or 30, 720 at 60 or 30, and you can shoot video slow-mo at 1080p up to 240 frames per second. You can shoot 720 at up to 480 frames per second and 1080p at up to 720 frames per second. On the front-facing camera, you can shoot 30 frames per second. The Find X3 Pro's display is one of the best there is right now. It has an adaptive 120Hz refresh rate that can go from 5 all the way to 120Hz, which suggests it is LTPO backplane. And depending on what you're doing with it, it's better on battery consumption as well compared to the X2 Pro, for example. And it's a 6.7-inch Quad HD Plus display with true billion color and 525 ppi. It's colorful, vibrant, with rich tones, detailed and realistic as well. Basically true to life. It even uses imaging algorithms. It's got 10-bit HEIF storage and post-editing that are tuned to fully support 1 billion color. It's also got a super bright display at 1300 local peak brightness and HDR10 Plus certified for both online and offline HDR content. More on the display though, you have always on display with lots of options, which is good, so you can customize it as you see fit. You can activate eye comfort for reduced blue light emissions, good for your eyes. Screen color temperature adjustment option is there, and nature tone display to adjust to the ambient lighting depending on where you are. As before, you still have 01 Ultra Vision engine, where you can sharpen video resolution or video color enhancements from SDR to HDR using AI. Something that's new here though is color vision enhancement. With this, you can adjust the colors based on your color vision, as some of us could be colorblind, so this would really help. This is very thoughtful. You can select from grayscale, red filter, green filter, blue filters, so RGB, or you can go through the personalized settings and make it personalized to your vision. The Find X3 Pro has an in-screen fingerprint reader and face unlock for security and also other privacy settings as well, both of which are super fast. It unlocks faster than you can look, which is incredible. Since we're wearing masks these days, it's good to have a fingerprint reader that actually works as well. You can even change the animation for the fingerprint reader as well, so you can change it to suit your preference. More on the camera. The Find X3 Pro's main camera has a wide focal length of about 26mm and uses pixel combining, so you can shoot at the full 50 megapixel resolution or 12.5 megapixel standard when shooting in the day or at night. The new IMX766 sensor lets you shoot vivid images and videos as well as focusing faster than ever. It also adds color and temperature accuracy, all of which I'll be putting to test for my review. The Find X3 Pro's camera is not all in the hardware though. There are some cool bits in the software or application level too. Besides night mode, portrait mode, etc., you can shoot RAW Plus, which is HDR RAW images, and in settings you can also shoot videos in 10-bit color, which you would need a compatible device to view this content, something you can do on the Find X3 Pro with its display. A new option which is pretty cool to have on the smartphone is the new movie mode. It lets you capture HDR videos and log format too. So if you're familiar with log, it just means you can shoot flat images and then you can put it into your post-processing software like Final Cut Pro or Premiere and color grade it just the way you like it. So this is very good for filmmakers out there. You can also manually adjust things like white balance, shutter speed and ISO and so on. So here's an example so you can see what the flat one looks like and a graded version as well side by side. Another pretty cool feature is AI palettes. I edit all my images using Lightroom, and this can be time consuming sometimes. But with this on the X3 Pro, you can use AI to do all the hard work for you. Simply take a picture, go into edit to edit the picture itself, select AI palettes, and from there you can select from a reference image. So in this example, just some images I found on Google, apply it like a filter and the AI does all the work for you. I think it does it really well with this from my test so far, and this is something that would have usually taken me like 30 minutes to tweak all the settings like contrast, dehaze it, and just do all the bits and bobs that I normally do, add warmth to get the same results. But using AI palettes, you can actually achieve this result just at a click of a button, which is impressive. As mentioned in the intro, the Find X3 Pro is rocking the latest Qualcomm chipset. It has the Snapdragon 888 processor with Adreno 660 GPU. You have 12 gig of LPDDR5 RAM and 256 gig of UFS 3.1 internal storage, which you can't expand. The result, a super fast smartphone with up to 2.8 GHz of CPU speeds and improvements in graphics performance and better heat dissipation. Putting it through Geekbench 5, it performed really well. Running 3D benchmark tool also shows it performs better than 91% of similar devices tested in its class, and only sees a real competition when it comes to the iPhone 12 Pro when it comes to graphics performance. With a 4,500 mAh battery, it lasts the day with ease, and even with 120 Hz turned on, using it at its full workload throughout the day, gaming, reading emails, using social media and so on, it just lasts through the day. Elsewhere, you have Wi-Fi 6, dual SIM 5G and 13 5G bands, making it truly global. Lastly, the Find X3 Pro is running ColorOS 11.2 based on Android 11, and it's one of the cleanest and easiest to use out there in my opinion. You can easily find things in settings, customize things like your always on display and more. You can just deep dive into the software and see all the things that you can do and tweak to suit your preference. Overall, I think the OPPO Find X3 Pro is a great device. It's fantastic, and I think it's actually destined to be a success. Hopefully, OPPO is going to market it very well so everyone knows about it. So, onto some impression. What's actually good about it then? It's got excellent battery life, great camera configuration, reasonably priced in its class. Both the display and sound quality are amazing for content consumption with 1 billion colors on the screen and dual stereo and Dolby Atmos. I love that you can shoot in log profile, great for filmmakers out there, and it's IP68 splash, dunk, and spill resistance. That being said, OPPO has made it difficult for me to find negative things to say about the smartphone itself. So for example, you can't expand the storage, and you also don't get a 3.5mm headphone jack if that's something that you still care about. But that's it for my unboxing and first impressions of the OPPO Find X3 Pro. If you guys want to find out more about pricing and availability and where you can get it from, links will be in the description area, so do check it out for that. If you have any questions, as always, drop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. But in the meantime, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification so you'll be one of the first people to know. Smash the like button and share it as well. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one.